Hello, bug-sized man. What it's like to face a T-Rex. You brace for teeth and terror, but the real danger isn't the bite. It's the brutal calorie math. Well, let's find out. Before we meet the main event, you need to understand the stage. The Cretaceous is basically a biological pressure cooker. 35 degrees Celsius, no polar ice caps, and oxygen levels high enough to make your head spin. Everything grows bigger because the atmosphere allows it. You're sweating through your clothes before you've taken 10 steps. The air smells like decaying vegetation and ancient dirt. It's a greenhouse world, and you're just a walking snack waiting to be cataloged. Honestly, if you brought a thermos of iced tea, it would be room temperature in 4 seconds. But don't worry, the local wildlife has much more creative ways to ruin your day. Everything you've done since arriving has been a broadcast. Walking, breathing, wearing a bright orange jacket in a world painted entirely in greens and browns. Your scent drifts downwind. Your footsteps transmit through the soil like a telegraph wire. Every living thing in this valley already knows you're here. You just don't know what's listening. You step over a fallen conifer and nearly crush a small, furry animal pressed into the hollow between two roots. Didelphodon, an early mammal barely the size of a house cat. It doesn't run, it freezes. Commits entirely to the strategy of being invisible. I'm a rock, it's basically thinking, please don't eat me. This animal's survival strategy is insignificant. Be small, be quiet, hope the things with teeth look somewhere else. It's a strategy that has worked for millions of years, and it's about to save your life. Can't say the same about the next one, though. You move deeper, and the ecosystem reveals itself in layers. Dragonflies with wingspans like dinner plates patrol between the ferns. One snatches a lizard out of midair in less than a second. 90% aerial kill rate. Even the insects here are apex predators at their scale, but there's a catch. The insect chorus stops, not gradually, all at once. The constant background hum vanishes into dead silence. You stop walking. The forest is still alive, but something shifted. Something at the bottom of the food chain just decided to be very, very quiet. The dragonflies vanish into the canopy. The small mammals retreat deeper into the roots. The valley holds its breath. Your orange jacket suddenly feels very loud. You've been standing in the open, broadcasting through sight, scent, and sound for the entire time you've been here. The ecosystem has been tracking you. You just haven't met what's been listening yet. You push through a final curtain of cycad fronds and stop. A clearing opens up. In it, grazing with slow, deliberate patience, is a herd of Edmontosaurus. Each one is 12 meters long and weighs 4 tons. They chew slowly, tearing through ancient vegetation like industrial shredders. They communicate in low hoots that vibrate right in your chest. You watch from the tree line. Your hand drifts to your zipper, as if you could make yourself less visible. You can't. You're basically a walking dinner bell. Movement at the edge of the clearing. Smaller predators emerge from the undergrowth. Dakota raptors, feathered, lean, and built for speed. They're not interested in you. Too unfamiliar. They're scavenging the periphery of the herd, picking off insects stirred up by the Edmontosaurus feet. Mid-tier predators, dangerous in their own right, but subordinate to whatever sits at the top. If these are the middle managers of the food chain, what does the CEO look like? Every Edmontosaurus head snaps up simultaneously. 15 heads, 15 pairs of eyes, all pointing in the same direction, away from you, toward the far tree line. The chewing stops, the hooting stops, the Dakota raptors freeze. Even the insects are silent. Then the nearest Edmontosaurus turns, not casually, urgently. The rest follow, moving as one organism. A single body with 15 sets of legs, all accelerating away from something you cannot see. The ground trembles. 4 tons per animal, moving fast. The vibration travels through the soil, up through your boots, and into your calves. Dust kicks up. Ferns snap under the weight of retreating giants. The sound is deafening, a stampede of geological proportions. The clearing empties, the crushed ferns settle. The dust hangs in the humid air. You are alone in the space where 15 4-ton animals just decided that being somewhere else was the best decision they'd ever made. When a 4-ton herbivore runs, the question isn't why. The question is what it knows that you don't. Every instinct in your mammalian brain screams at you to follow the herd. Instead, you turn toward the direction they fled from. You step into the churned mud. The air feels heavier. The silence from the forest floor hasn't returned. It's waiting. You walk past the last set of Edmontosaurus tracks. They're deep, frantic. You follow the trail into the forest beyond the clearing. The trees grow thicker, the light dims. You're walking into the blind spot of an ecosystem that just evacuated itself. You stop. Look down. The mud changes texture. It's packed down, smoother. You crouch and place your hand on the ground. It's damp, fresh. You look up. The trail ahead isn't made by herbivores. It's made by something that doesn't run from anything. A footprint, three-toed. Each toe impression is a pool of rainwater deep enough to sit in. You crouch and place your entire boot inside one toe impression. It fits twice. The math begins to register in your body before your brain. Your breathing changes. Your posture tightens. The scale of it hits you physically. You're not looking at a track. You're looking at a crater. Claw marks gouge the trunk of a nearby conifer. 3 parallel grooves, each the width of your forearm, carved into solid wood above your head height. The bark is peeled back in strips, sap still weeping from the wounds. Whatever made these marks didn't climb the tree. It brushed past it, casually, the way you might knock a lamp off a table, except the lamp is a tree, and the accident weighs 7 tons. If you're enjoying the video so far, it would help me a lot if you could boop the like button. It tells the algorithm you're still alive. Now back to the murder scene. 50 meters deeper, you find a young Edmontosaurus, not fully grown, maybe 6 meters long, lying on its side in a clearing of crushed ferns, half consumed. The ribs on one side are snapped clean, not chewed, not gnawed, snapped. The exposed bone is white and jagged, still slick. Flies are already gathering. The smell is copper and rot, thick, heavy. It coats the back of your throat. Try not to breathe through your nose. Seriously, it's a lot. 12,800 pounds per square inch. The strongest bite force of any terrestrial animal in Earth's history. Strong enough to crush a car. Strong enough to turn living bone into powder. The teeth that did this are banana-sized serrated blades, designed not to slice, designed to pulverize. This predator doesn't just eat meat, it consumes the entire package, bones and all, extracting maximum calories from every square inch of prey. It's a biological accounting machine. You stand over the carcass. The drag marks are fresh. The sap on the claw-gouged tree is still wet. The water in the footprint hasn't settled. The animal that made this trail didn't wander off. The drag marks lead in a wide arc around the kill site. They point back toward the tree line you're standing at. It's circled, and the only reason an apex predator circles back to a kill site is because it's not finished. You notice something else. The wind shifts. A heavy, musky odor rolls through the clearing. Not rot, musk, old blood, and damp earth. It's the smell of an animal that hasn't bathed in 66 million years. You realize you're standing exactly where it's going to return. Your brain finally catches up to your legs. You step backward, slowly. The evolutionary context writes itself in the wreckage. The bite force tells you about jaw evolution. The snapped bones tell you about feeding strategy. The circling drag marks tell you about territorial behavior. This predator doesn't abandon kills. It processes them methodically. Everything you need to know about the T-Rex is demonstrated by the evidence before the creature appears. But we'll get to the main course later. Puddle near your boots begins to ripple, concentric circles, expanding from the center, not from wind, from impact, rhythmic, heavy, getting closer. Your head lifts from the carcass. Your eyes track toward the tree line where the drag marks lead. The foliage is shifting, not blowing, displacing. Something enormous is pushing through, not crashing, moving with deliberate, confident weight. You press yourself against a cycad trunk. It's like hiding behind a toothpick from a wrecking ball. The forest parts. The tail appears first, thick as a tree trunk, sweeping through the undergrowth, clearing a 3-meter path just by existing. Mottled earth tones, countershading. The coloration of a predator designed to disappear into a forest canopy. Then the foot. It hits the ground and the impact is visible. Earth compresses. Water splashes from a puddle. 3 toes, claws curved like scimitars. The foot alone is larger than your entire body. You hold your breath. The canopy above rustles. A flock of pterosaurs takes off in a panic. You're not just watching a predator. You're watching the absolute ceiling of land predator evolution. And it's getting closer. The head turns. One eye locks onto your position. Full body now visible, 12 meters long, 4 meters at the hip. The head alone is 1.5 meters of bone and muscle. But this is not a clean, roaring movie monster. It's a real animal, scarred from decades of territorial fights. Parasites cling to the rough, pebbled skin, thick leech-like things pulsing on old wounds, mud caked on its legs. Lips cover the teeth. Not the exposed grin of every movie. This is a breathing, weathered apex predator that has owned this ecosystem for 2 million years and has never, in its entire evolutionary lineage, been prey. It doesn't charge, doesn't roar, it walks slowly towards you. Apex predators are energy optimizers. Sprinting costs calories. Calories are currency. This animal is walking because it's confident. It knows you can't outrun it. It knows you can't hide. It's just closing the gap. 60 meters, 40, 30, 20. The scale of it hits in full. You aren't facing a dinosaur, you're facing the end of the food chain. The T-Rex stops, 10 meters away, nostrils flare, testing the air. You're basically a 70-kilogram snack pack, roughly 70,000 calories. The half-eaten Edmontosaurus behind it? Over 1 million. It's doing the brutal calorie math in real time. Chasing you burns more energy than you'd ever give back. You're a break-even meal. In predator economics, that's a terrible investment. The T-Rex isn't calculating if it can kill you, it's calculating if you're worth the calories. It takes one more step, a mock lunge, a half step forward, jaws parting slightly. A low guttural rumble vibrates through the ground. It's testing your reflexes. Prey that bolts triggers the chase instinct. Prey that freezes triggers assessment protocol. Your body is screaming at you to run. Every evolutionary instinct inherited from 300 million years of being small and edible is firing. But you don't move. Not out of bravery, out of paralysis. The massive skull lowers until one eye is level with yours. Amber iris, black pupil adjusting to the light. Two animals breathing the same air. 66 million years removed from anything either was built for. 5 seconds, 6, you sit in the silence. The massive skull lifts, the T-Rex turns. The massive body pivots. The tail sweeps at a height that passes over your head. A gust of wind hitting your face. It walks. Not away from you specifically, just elsewhere, toward the Edmontosaurus carcass, toward something worth its time. You weren't spared, you were dismissed. You sit down, not dramatically, a slow lowering. You're back against a cycad trunk. Your legs don't work properly anymore. The orange jacket is streaked with river mud. Your hands are trembling. Through the ferns, the T-Rex is a receding shape. Each step still audible, still felt through the ground. The environment reasserts itself. Insects return first, cautiously, then fully, the distant calls of pterosaurs. The river resumes its sound. The Cretaceous world doesn't care about what just happened. It was an interruption measured in minutes within a system that has been running for millions of years. You were a disruption. The system corrected. The system continues. The most humbling thing about standing in front of the most powerful predator in Earth's history isn't the fear. It's the realization that survival had nothing to do with you. You were a rounding error in a 7-ton animal's ledger. Too small to matter, just small enough to live. The Didelphodon from the roots knew this. Survival through insignificance. The meek don't inherit the earth through strength. They inherit it by being too cheap for the powerful to bother with. You sit small against the ancient trees, watching the last tremor fade from the puddle at your feet. The forest is quiet again, not peaceful, just no longer interested in you. The Cretaceous continues. You were never the point. Into the collection you go. See you next time, bug size man.